Well, if you're considering making a move to Airdrie, Alberta, it's important to know how much things are going to cost you before you make the move here. And with how fast cost of living seems to be changing, it's important for us to make an updated video of this video every year for Airdrie. So now here in 2023, is it still affordable to live here? Not just in terms of housing, which we're gonna get to, but in all aspects of life and the bills that you're going to have to pay. Well, make sure you watch this whole video to the end because we'll be breaking it all down into 5 categories throughout this video. Now, if you are returning to the channel, thank you so much for watching continuously. And if you're new to the channel, thanks for coming, and please subscribe and share these videos with anyone you know who may be thinking of making a move here. And for everyone watching, please hit that like button. For my own selfish reasons, it boosts the YouTube algorithm in my favor and shows this video to other people, so I would really appreciate that. But with all that done, let's get into the cost of living in Airdrie, Alberta in 2023. The first category that we're going to talk about is going to be housing. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you probably know what's going on with our housing prices here. But for this video, we're going to compare our overall price here in Airdrie to that of other major cities around Canada, as well as take a look at the rental rates. So let's get into the rentals first. The last handful of years, our rent prices have been increasing. Even back when our prices were still going down, our rents were actually already on the way up. So they are higher than they were in recent years. Right now, for a 1-bedroom apartment, you can expect to pay anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month plus utilities. For a 2-bedroom apartment, you can expect to be in the $1,500 to $1,700 range plus utilities. For a 2-bedroom townhouse, you'll be anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000 a month plus utilities. And for a 3-bedroom townhouse or a duplex, we'll see a pretty big range in here depending on how nice it is and if it has a garage or not and things like that. But those are going to go anywhere from $1,800 to $2,600 per month, obviously plus utilities as well. But most of them in here do land in that $2,200 range. And now moving on to our detached home rentals. For a detached home with 3 bedrooms, you can expect to pay anywhere from $2,400 to $2,700 a month plus utilities. And for a detached home with 4 or more bedrooms, those are going to range anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500 per month and up depending on the size of the home and how nice it is. And now moving on to our housing prices for purchasing a home here in Airdrie. And these prices here are current as of March 2023. Our overall benchmark price here in Airdrie is $487,200. And we're going to compare that to other Canadian cities in just a minute here, but first we're going to break that down to our 4 different styles here in Airdrie and how those price ranges break down as well. So for our detached homes, our benchmark price right now is $565,800. For semi-detached homes or duplexes, we've got a benchmark price of $433,600. For those townhomes or row homes, we have a benchmark price of $312,000. And for our apartment style condos in Airdrie, we're sitting at a benchmark price of $219,300. Now these prices are all up this year, just in the first 2 months of this year, 2023, about 2%, and it looks like we're going to be continuing to rise for the foreseeable future due to all the demand of people moving to our province right now. So if you do plan to buy soon, I'd expect that you see some good appreciation in the next few years. Okay, so you know our prices now here in Airdrie, but how does that compare to other cities in Canada? So our benchmark price here was $487,200, as I mentioned. Now starting with one that's fairly close to us, which is Montreal, and they're close but slightly higher at $495,000. In Calgary, which is just a few minutes to the south of us, they jump up about 40 grand up to $530,900 for that benchmark price. In Ottawa, you'll find a benchmark price of $605,000. And then this is where things really start to climb. So if we look at Victoria right now, they've got a benchmark price there of $870,300. And then if we look at our 2 most prominent cities in Canada of Toronto and Vancouver, in Toronto right now, they have a benchmark price of $1,078,900. And in Vancouver, the highest in all of Canada. They have right now a benchmark price of $1,114,300. And believe it or not, that is down about 13% from their peak last year. So you can see how affordable we are here in Airdrie compared to many other cities around Canada. And once you couple that with the career and growth opportunities here, you can see why people are moving here from those major cities in BC and Ontario. All right, now moving on to our second category, which will be your utility costs here in Airdrie. For these numbers, I'm going to base them off kind of your typical family home, say about 1,800 square foot, 2-story home, which we see a lot of here in Airdrie. Your average gas and electricity bill is going to be around $300 a month spread across the entire year. Of course, this is going to depend on your provider and your current rate and the time of year. In summer, you're likely to be on the lower end, maybe around $200 or so a month. And in the winter, you're likely going to be more like $400 a month. And on those really cold months, it could definitely push up to $450 or higher a month, depending on how much you had to use your furnace. For internet, the average spend here is about $75 a month, but of course this also depends on your provider and the speed that you choose. Personally, I pay about $70 per month, but I know people here who pay less than that and some that pay over $100 a month. And now moving on to the utilities from the city of Airdrie, which are your water, sewer, and garbage recycling and organic material pickups. This one does tend to catch people off guard from Ontario specifically, because it seems that in most cases out there, these services are wrapped up in your property taxes, but here that is not the case. So it's good to know that before you make the move, that you will have this additional bill each month. The city utility bill is likely going to range from $120 to $150 per month, depending on how much water you use. For example, if you fill a huge pool in a summer month, this could definitely pretty easily double or triple your bill for that month. So just something to keep in mind with your water bill here in Airdrie. And now on to our third category, which is groceries. And no matter where you are in Canada, you've experienced some big changes in food prices in the recent years, and not really in a good way. Inflation on food has been pretty crazy, and unfortunately, Alberta is one of the worst for it. Of all the provinces in 2022, Alberta saw the second highest inflation on food overall, with a rise of 10.8%. The only other province that was higher than us was Quebec at 11%. Now, if you like those baked goods, the bakery items actually saw the highest increase here at 15% in 2022, but it's expected that our grocery prices are going to continue to rise throughout 2023 here, so we're just going to have to wait and see by how much that's going to be. Now, for 2 people, you can expect to pay about $300 to $500 per month on groceries. Keep in mind that this doesn't include eating out or your late night snack runs. And for a family of 4, you'll be looking at around $700 to $900 per month. And this is just a ballpark and reasonably budget-friendly prediction. This, of course, does get much higher if you're eating our fine Alberta beef multiple times a week. Which brings us now to category 4, which is your transportation, including our gas prices here in Airdrie. But before we get to those gas prices, let's take a look first at insurance. On average, the typical car insurance here is going to cost you about $1,300 per year. This is basically right in line with the national average, which puts us slightly cheaper than BC and Ontario, and slightly more expensive as compared to provinces like our neighbor in Saskatchewan. And now for public transportation here in Airdrie, the Airdrie Ice monthly transit pass is $67.80 per month. This bus system will take you to various places around Airdrie and also a handful of routes to downtown Calgary or Cross Iron Mills Mall, which is just on the way to Calgary. Which brings us now to our gas prices here. And when we're comparing Airdrie's gas prices to other places around the province, we actually typically end up slightly on the high end, but Alberta in general is usually the cheapest amongst the provinces. To give you an idea, Alberta right now is sitting about 17 cents cheaper than anywhere else in Canada. Now, it is also important to keep in mind that we do have a freeze on our fuel tax here in Alberta right now, which is definitely a contributing factor to where we stand in the rankings for our fuel prices, but that freeze on the fuel tax is only effective until June 30th of this year at the moment, so we're gonna have to wait and see what happens when we get to that date. So for right now, the cost of regular fuel at the recording of this video in Airdrie is $1.33 per liter, which is a few cents more expensive than larger cities like Calgary, Edmonton, or Red Deer in Alberta. And as for diesel, you're looking at around $1.42 per liter. Which brings us to our final and fifth category, which is taxes. Now first, let's just get the obvious one out of the way: GST, PST, and HST. Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about PST and HST because we just don't have them here. We have the 5% goods and services tax, which definitely beats the 12% in BC and 13% in Ontario when you combine the different taxes. Now moving on to income tax here in Alberta, where we have one of the cheaper and easier to understand tax bracket systems. So I'm going to round these numbers to the nearest thousands, but for any income up to 142,000, you'll pay 10% provincial tax on that. For any amount in between 142,000 to 170,000, you're going to pay 12% on that portion. Anything between 170 and 227,000, you'll pay 13%. Anywhere from 227,000 to 341,000, you'll pay 14% on that portion. And anything above $341,000, you're gonna pay 15% on that portion of your income. So you'll find with our tax brackets here in Alberta that we have the smallest range in percentages for the tax brackets in all of Canada. We start a little bit higher in the percentage, and on the high end, we're a bit lower. Ultimately, this works out to if you make more than $50,000 per year, you're going to be paying less taxes here than in any other province. But if you make under that, then you'll be paying more than most of the other provinces. And last but not least, we have our property taxes. Now, we did do a video explaining all about Airdrie property taxes a while back, so if you're interested in how these work, definitely go take a look at that. But for 2022, Airdrie had a tax rate of 0.00719,270, meaning that they take your assessed value and they multiply it by that tax rate to get your property taxes for the year. So for a nice easy number, an assessed value of $500,000, this will work out to about $3,596 per year for your taxes. For a $300,000 home, this would be $2,157 per year, and on a $750,000 home, your taxes would be $5,394 per year. And that brings us to the end of our cost of living in Airdrie, Alberta. Thanks so much for watching up to this point, and if you found this helpful at all, please give the video a like and comment any additional questions that you may have. As a local Airdrie realtor, I help families to move to our city all the time, so if you're looking to make a move, give me a call, text, or email, and let's chat so we can make sure that your transition is a smooth one. My name is Brad Walker with Real Broker, and we'll see you in the next video.